Welcome back to Celebrity Radio. It's Alex Belfield. Made our way down the strip to the Stratosphere to one of the most iconic, beautiful buildings. And talking of things beautiful, Claire Sinclair, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm delicious, and all the better for talking to you. You are fabulous. You're on every billboard. It must be magnificent to be you.
It's very interesting to be me. It's very surreal to see the billboards, and there's always this weird disconnect where it looks like I'm looking at someone else when I drive by. I'm like, oh, that's so cool, but it doesn't feel like me. It's still very odd and awesome.
Why you?
Why me?
Yeah, why you? I mean, there's a million beautiful girls around the world, and they don't get their own face on a billboard. They don't get their own show in Las Vegas. We're here at Pinup. It's all about you. Why you?
I would I'd have to say that it's mostly luck. It's like winning a lottery almost. I really believe that. I think it's all about being in the right time at the right place. Like, the sequence of events in my life have been comparable to that of Forrest Gump, how he just finds himself in weird ass situations all the time, and he's behind Kennedy or going to the White House. It's the same type of feeling in my life. I feel like also I'm very blessed in the breast, which has helped. But other than that, it's all been luck. There's so many girls who have, nice figures and are cool and everything. I've just been very, very lucky.
It also seems, having researched you're very smart. I mean, you are gorgeous. That's obvious. You wouldn't be here if you weren't. And you are blessed, as you mentioned. But you've got a brain, and that's so important, isn't it? Because to be successful in this business, you've got to sort of manage your career, your image.
Well, thank you, by the way. I enjoy reading. I love learning. I haven't gone to college. Right from high school, I graduated to Playboy, basically. I moved into the mansion. But I still am continually trying to teach myself different things, and I feel to stay afloat, you have a door open for you, but it's up to you at that point to keep running and keep going, and I've definitely tried to stay afloat and keep different endeavors going on so that I can stay doing what I love to do. It's all about thinking about new projects and how could I turn this into something bigger, into a different project. What's the next step strategically? What can I do? And it has been it's been great to have control over that facet of my career, to make moves, to do things that I really enjoy doing, and to do all of my dreams.
Let's get the creepy bit out of the way. Here's what I love about you. Firstly, you have delicious arms. The arms of a girl, I always think, if you've got nice arms, the rest of it's going to be good.
What? Yeah. I have arms. What are you talking about? The creamy complexion? What are you talking about?
No, I'm talking about some women in Britain. Now, I don't know whether it's the same over here, have these sort of swinging things under their arms. Now, you don't want to see that in your type of show. Do you know what I'm talking about? That skin? You don't have that.
Kind of, you know what? I'm fleshy. I have a little muscle. I've been going to the trainer lately, so I have a little definition going on. But I'm taking that as a huge compliment. I'm gonna be looking at my arms every time I go to the mirror now. I'm like, someone told me I had delicious arms.
Exactly. Yeah, put that on the poster. And then the eyebrows. You see, I always say if a girl doesn't keep good eyebrows, the rest of it ain't going to be any good either.
Oh, well, then I'm just crap because I don't take good care of my eyebrows at all. I haven't gotten them done in about a year, so that was a bad call. They're actually bushes. I can get away with that because I wear bangs. I've had a fringe for about 20 years now, so I never show my eyebrows. You might see a peak at the end, but I cheat it. I might pluck two. I never get my eyebrows done.
I don't believe it. They don't normally go like that. Mine don't look like yours.
I think I have an awesome natural shape brow then. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Everything's got natural shape about you. That's the thing, isn't it? So how do you go from being the girl at school who's hot, because let's face it, there's plenty of those, to
I wasn't the girl at school that was hot, number one. I was the biggest dork you would ever meet. That was not me. I was not the hot girl.
I find that hard to believe. So tell me then, at what point did you wake up and have the confidence to think you could be hot?
It was more like I grew up loving pinups, and I was surrounded by pinup artwork, and I wanted to do that as a job because I thought it was unbelievable. I'm like, someone can make a living out of playing dress up. That's amazing. That seems so fun. So it was more like once I decided, I think at 14 or 15 to get completely dolled up, that I saw that I can portray this 1950s character and do it well and do it justice. I'm like, I can do this, but it's still very much a character to me. I'm not like Dita Von Teese where I live in 1950s garments. In my real life, I'm in sweatpants and a shirt almost all the time. It's only when I'm working that I can morph into, a pinup or, whatever genre we're doing for a photo shoot. So it was, at 15, I would say I realized I want to do this as a living.
I don't want this to sound like I'm saying you're fat, because I don't believe that for 1 second. But what I love about you is you're not that stick-thin, model-looking, I'm on coke, I need to lie down, I need a sandwich look. You've got that sort of girl next door thing, and I think that's why the guys like you. Is that something someone said before? Have you heard that in the past?
I've heard everything. I've heard.
I couldn't offend you, could I?
No. I've already seen it. I mean, I'm definitely happy with my body. I've never felt an urge to, be stick thin. I think curvy girls are beautiful. I think that that's what makes you a woman, to have some meat on your bones, and it's more fun to look at. It's why I was always a fan of 1950s models, because they were voluptuous and they weren't stick thin. So I think staying true to the genre, like I always feel like when I do get too thin for whatever reason, if I'm working out and I notice I'm shedding weight, I don't think I am true to the era anymore. And I think it's almost like I better go to a buffet because it's time to put on some more pounds and look more pin-up-y and vintage.
This is the town to do it if you want a buffet. I mean, you have to be careful with that. There's a restaurant on every corner. What is it like being a star here in Las Vegas? Is it a cool place to do it? I mean, after the show, the clubs are just getting going by the time you're finished.
I'm 22 and I came here when I was 21. It's the most amazing time in the world to be in Vegas and living in a hotel. Like, I couldn't choose a better time in my life to be doing this, because it's still not out of my system to go out and go clubbing all the time, and I have a really great time here.
And where we're sat now, this is the dressing room, not where you're living?
No, I live upstairs. This is my dressing room.
Yeah, and it's beautifully camp. I mean, this is your girly. That's what I like about you. All your branding is very girly. This is nice and pink, lots of lights,
Barbie's
and a
dream house. Yeah, it's really like I have my pasties up there on the wall. That's the Great Wall of Pasty. It's like 1960s. Cool aunt that you would go to, an early 1960s. That's what I wanted to go for. But you're right, it's campy. I hope it's not too campy. It's just like fun. I wanted people to walk in and be like, it's undeniably my room.
It is very, very cool. I mean, I wonder what it's like living in a hotel. I've been here for 2 weeks and I always get an apartment with a kitchen because I like a slice of toast in the morning. I like to make a coffee. I stayed in a hotel last week, $22 for a coffee in my room. Thanks.
That's not your problem at the Stratosphere. You will not have $22 coffee. Stratosphere is very reasonable.
Yeah, and thank God, and that's why people come here, isn't it? I mean, this hotel, they've transformed many of their rooms. They've got a great restaurant. Of course, one of my favorites is right at the top of the tower, and you go around in this beautiful moving restaurant, one of few in the world left. Is it a cool place to perform?
It's amazing. And like, honestly, because it's right in the middle of everything. There's downtown Las Vegas, which is awesome, right down the street. And then a couple blocks over, you get northern end of the strip, which is, all the new casinos and everything. So I'm in the most convenient location, and Stratosphere is awesome. I have a freaking amusement park in my backyard. Like, seriously, it's like crazy. I bring everyone ends up in Vegas too, is the thing. Like, literally everyone I've ever met in my life and ended up here in the past 2 years that I've hosted. And it's so fun because they're so thrilled to jump off of the tower or to go on the rides. And, I think it's a dream. It's really awesome to get all of the perks of living at the hotel, which is why I never left. Like, I've been here for 2 years almost, and I'm not leaving. If they want me to, then I guess they'd have to like literally give me the boot, because I love living here. Got a maid. I have a hookup. I'm not leaving. I'm not gonna get that at my wherever condo I get. Yeah. So
nobody's making your bed at home, are they?
Hell no. It's like I have a mom. I have a hotel mom. It's awesome.
I've got to ask you one question that always fascinates me. I interviewed Holly Madison a few years ago, and I asked her the same question, what it's like to be you and to walk down the street, because you're very popular. You have a ton of followers on Twitter, and it's all about that now. Facebook, media, the internet, Google, YouTube, you're there. People are following you. Is it fun, or is it a bit intimidating and aggravating?
I'm excited to answer this, but I'm very curious how Holly answered this question. I just want to hear, what did she say to you?
I think it's her life. She's never known anything different. She couldn't kind of understand why I was asking the question, because she's never lived my life.
Yeah, no, Holly was just your average, literally, like, girl next door when she was like 20 before she met Half. She went through a major makeover transformation of herself, and it's interesting to see how she would answer that. But yeah, no, I am such a, like, I don't know who to compare this to, Hannah Montana, I guess, because, this Disney character, I don't know if you're familiar with her, but she is a regular girl by day, and then she's a pop star, like, it's the same type of notion for me, where I can literally go in my sweatpants, wear my hair in a ponytail, no makeup, and not be bothered. Nobody would recognize me, unless I'm in red lipstick, have my hair done in a pinup style, have my bangs down, and then in Vegas, of course, there's people, it's like, they'll recognize me, and I'm thrilled, I'm ecstatic at it, because it's just a measure of success. Like, every time someone comes up to me, I'm like, cool, then I'm reaching out to more people. This is awesome, and I'm glad that they're excited about whatever I'm doing. And I get a lot of really curvy girls that are fans of mine, which is awesome. Like, they think, you know, you're representing a girl with a body that's real, and, you know, you don't have a boob job, and you're all real and curvy, and it inspires us. We can be sexy too. So that's the majority of who follows me, and it's very awesome. You'll see the girls that come in tonight. It's mostly girls. You think I'd have a lot of creepy old dudes coming at me and
what, like me?
No, I don't though. Like, of course, I generate a couple of weirdos, like especially when I do Playboy signings or whatever. But the coolest shit is that it's all young girls, and that's the best thing for me. I'm like, that's cool. I'm glad that that's the demographic that I'm reaching out to.
And I guess you're surrounded by positivity. If you're Piers Morgan, you're going to get a lot of negativity when you go out. You're kind of people who want to see you, want to tell you they love you and adore you.
It's awesome. There's nothing. I've had some negative moments, but it's been mostly, you're right, extremely positive, and you vibe off of that.
So, we're 15 years old, we decide we're going to be a star, we decide that Playboy is the dream, and you make it. How does that transition happen? Tell me chronologically what happened next.
Okay, I'm trying to give you the fast track version of this question. It's so weird.
Can't last 7 years because you've got to get on at 10:30.
You know what? I didn't decide Playboy. That just kind of happened. I decided I wanted to be a pinup. I wanted to be painted by a famous pinup artist, and I was. Olivia, who does the pinup work in Playboy, actually introduced me to Hef, and he asked me to be a playmate, which I thought was out of the question. I thought you had to be 21. I was 18 at the time. So he asked me to be a playmate. Immediately afterwards, I moved into the bunny house where playmates live across the street from the mansion. And then I'm Playmate of the Year the next year. And then it's just like this roller coaster ride of all these different things that happen. Why Vegas? Why am I doing a show? That was one of those weird Forrest Gump moments. My 21st birthday out in Vegas. I am working with a PR person on this job. I'm doing a promotion. And she is friends with Frankie Marino, who's the other headliner at the Stratosphere. She invites me to come and see the show. And he says, I'm producing music for this new vintage themed show. I think you'd be awesome for it. And I'm like, yeah, cool, talk to Jen about it. I didn't think it was anything like, you know, I didn't think it was substantial. I thought it would happen down the line. I didn't think it was anything immediate, but it was literally like a month later that we're having meetings with the Stratosphere to develop the show, and it's legit and awesome. So that's how that kind of happened. I just met Frankie, and it was one of those weird, if I hadn't gone that night, I don't think I would be, you know, sitting here in this dressing room, because that's what propelled everything into motion. So, and
by the way, he's one of the most talented guys I've ever seen in Las Vegas. He's a phenomenal act.
No, honestly, I trip out every time I see his show, and he's like bending over backwards playing the piano. He's a trip. He's awesome.
He really is. So then we're in the Playboy Mansion. What is that? Because for Brits like me, we see the branding, we see the t-shirts, we see Hef on this show and that show, we hear about Holly Madison, we see you. But what does it mean when you become a playmate?
Oh God, do I want to ruin the dream image that you have in your head? I don't know. Do I want to break it down and
This is what I see. I see 20 girls in a bath together, morning, noon and night. Is it like that?
Oh God, sure. Let me not crush your bubble. Okay, and in reality, that happens sometimes when there's photo shoots, when you're shooting for, there's a show in town that's filming, then there's a bunch of playmates there and they're working and they're in their bunny gear. But I would say 90% of the time, it's like a country club for older men, because Hef is older. He's 86 and he has a bunch of his friends there, and that's who's roaming around. And like, there might be 2 playmates on the property, but it's mostly older people. And like, it's awesome. They were all really interesting bomb people back in the 60s and 50s. They were on awesome sitcoms and shows, and they're writers and they're poets, but they're older now. I'm like, it is what it is. Like, that's the reality of the situation. That is what the Playboy Mansion is. It's also a relic. It's also a museum. It's perfectly exactly the same as it was in 1972. It's nothing has changed. The furnishing is the same, down to the curtains. Everything is exactly replicated to look like it did when it was first built.
So with the money he's earned, he could get it renovated, wouldn't he?
But he enjoys it. I think he's very routine. Hef is such a routine man, and he enjoys what he enjoys, and he's enjoyed it always. And he's, you know, gonna play backgammon at 3 o'clock every afternoon, and that's his routine. And he's gonna stick to it. And if that was the carpet, the shag carpet from 1971 that he loved, it's gonna be exactly the same now. And I think it's gonna be quite fun to see what happens to the mansion later on. I think it will turn into a museum. I think people will be able to tour it because it's been so well maintained. I think that people will get a kick out of looking around the place, honestly.
And how proud is he of you on a scale of 1 to 10? Because surely there's no greater affirmation for him if somebody like you succeeds, gets their own show, becomes a star.
Yeah, he's done such an amazing job of giving girls the leverage to go and pursue the things that they want to do, and giving them that pedestal to go and do other things. Hef to me has always been grandpa. He's like, people always ask me like straightforward, oh, you slept with Hef to be a playmate? I'm like, no, that's my grandpa. That's kind of weird. It's like asking me, you know, he's Grandpa Hef, and he's monitored my career. When I was living there, it was like he was strict, and he wanted to oversee every single project that I took on, and I had a very different relationship with him than the rest of the girls, and the fact that he was monitoring everything that I did. I think that he saw potential, and he wanted to make sure that I was doing the right things and on the right projects. So he had a very hands-on, like, he was like, I'm gonna help guide your career type thing, and I think he must be extremely happy about all the successes that have gone on.
So I guess aside from being one of the most notorious men in the world, he's also a very shrewd businessman, controlling what happens and how it happens, and making sure that there is a business there at the end, because those new carpets don't pay for themselves, do they?
He's awesome, and he is still there. He makes a mock book of Playboy on like cardboard layouts. He's doing it at 86 years old. He's still there, the one who puts the final touches on the magazine, which I find extremely impressive. He's still witty and sharp and not senile in the least. So he's doing very well.
Right, we got to go. Listen, Claire, I don't want to make this awkward, but I'm a deeply unattractive guy. I know that. This is true. You're hot. But listen, in about half an hour, I'm going to see this really hot chick in this show in Las Vegas. I don't know whether you're free to see this show called Pinup. Would you like to join me?
You know what? I think that I might be able to join you tonight, actually. I think that could be arranged.
I can't wait to see the show. Thank you for doing this so close to the show as well. And congratulations. You're so smart and witty and funny, and you deserve to be here. It's clear to see why some make it and some don't. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much. Have fun.